Ahoy, mateys. Welcome aboard my podcast. I am Jason with Jay's Paradise Travels. I'd like to thank you for tuning into this week's episode. Today, I'm going to be talking about my experience visiting St. Maarten. I look forward to telling you about this. And this is a continuation of a cruise that I went on in Royal Caribbean. One of the stops was St. Maarten. Again, look forward to telling you about it. But before I do, a little housekeeping to get out of the way, as I always do, just to start it off. If you do want to go on vacation, specifically a cruise, which is my specialty, maybe you'd like to go visit St. Maarten, I'd be happy to help you with that. There's a couple ways that you can get a hold of me. One way is through social media. You can direct message me on either Instagram or Facebook, and my Instagram and Facebook handles are exactly the same. Jay's Paradise Travels. That is Jays. There's no apostrophe in there to make it easy for you. Jay's Paradise Travels. I also have some pictures you can look at. Feel free to drop me a line that way, or you want to deal with social media, you just want to email me directly. My business email account is j.paradise.travels@gmail.com. One more time, that is j.paradise.travels@gmail.com. All right, now that the housekeeping's out of the way, let's go ahead and let me tell you about my visit to St. Maarten, my experience there. We went in three different locations, three different stops on this cruise. And the last stop was St. Maarten. The day before, we had visited St. Thomas. St. Maarten, beautiful island. Lots of nice scenery, gorgeous surroundings with the water and other islands that are visible. I believe Antigua is one of them, St. Kitts. The tour guide mentioned quite a few. So there's beautiful surroundings, and it's not just flat. There are some hills that you can go up in to get an elevated viewpoint. Very nice place to take in atmosphere such as that if you like beautiful scenery such as me. There's also beaches there too. I'm not a beach guy, but one of the stops we did go, we went to a beach, we saw it. I'll get into that in a minute. But there's plenty of opportunity to get in the water if that is your thing. A nice island to visit overall. Again, as I mentioned, uh, we went there. This was our third stop, our final stop of the trip before we had 2 days at sea before heading back to Port Canaveral. We didn't have anything planned for St. Maarten. We had something planned for St. Thomas, Coco Key. We just kind of played it by ear, ended up doing some zip lining, which I was very happy to do. But St. Maarten, it was just kind of up in the air, go out there, see what's going on. We had a friend uh, join us. He kind of got in late, sadly. He joined us up at St. Thomas, and he needed a scooter that he didn't have one, so he wasn't able to get off the island. So it was just me, Selena, and my dad. We had some other friends too, and they actually had booked a tour, and we didn't get to see him until actually at the very end when we all came back. That being said, we didn't have anything planned. We were just going to go out. And where we were docked, there was four ships right in a row. Us, Norwegian was there, Celebrity, and what was the other one? Can't remember. Anyway, doesn't matter. There's four of us in a row, so we're all of us, all four of our ships are here visiting St. Maarten. There's a bunch of shops that were around there. That's kind of typical when you dock someplace. You're usually around some sort of shopping center, mall area, whatever. There's going to be people trying to sell you stuff. We were there. We started walking through, and I noticed that there was a tour information type of thing that included accessible handicapped people, which that was our friend back on the ship, and was like, hey, can we take this on the ship, go get him or bring him back? And like, no, I can't do. We can take it up to the ship, but we didn't really have a way of talking to him, and so it was like, all right, I guess we won't be doing that. And we walked a little further, and my dad was looking to get a taxi to just kind of take us around the island and take a look at it. Well, we stumbled across this uh, tour, I guess you could say. I don't know if I wouldn't consider it a taxi. It was just a tour, and um, you know, come to think of it, what was the name of them? I guess it was a taxi service. I don't remember that. I didn't catch the name of them. I caught the name of our driver. She was wonderful. Soraida was her name. anyways, but we're looking at what they had a few different routes that they were going to go. We picked one that kind of went all around. It was about 3 hours long, and they were showing prices, and we looked at it for three people. That's what we are. Me, my dad, and Selena, three people, and how much that would be. The more people you had, the cheaper it got. Well, we were joining a group that had already enough people, so us joining them got us into that other bracket. So we ended up being able to go on this tour for like under $30 a person, which was wonderful, especially when you saw the prices that you get through the cruise line and or the prices that you saw if it was just maybe a few people. Now, granted, and I've mentioned this before, and I know this is the case, when you take a tour that is not sponsored through the cruise line, you are running a risk that if you are not back in time, the cruise ship does not wait for you. If you do a tour through the cruise line, if something happens, the cruise ship waits for you. So I've always said, I've always given the heads up on that for anyone that wants to do it. Generally, you're going to spend a little bit more on the cruise line, but you're going to have that peace of mind. We didn't go down that route this time. We took, I guess you could say, the gamble, and it did pay off for us. It ended up paying off wonderfully for us that we got it at a much cheaper discounted rate, and we were able to see the whole island. Had a wonderful tour guide. Again, her name was Soraida, and we were able to do that and get back in time. And that was with a traffic jam. There was at one point there was an accident that kind of backed us up, and then there was some other traffic that went on later on. But even with that, we still were able to get back in time. And even when we got back, once we got back, we saw our friend. Our friend was able to get a scooter on the ship. Yay for that! We were so happy to see him that he could get out because he couldn't get out in St. Thomas, and we were already at our last stop. We saw him. We ended up doing a little shopping with him before we get back on the ship. And as we were getting back on the ship, we saw our other friends who had the other tour get back on. That was our experience. Now let me go ahead and tell you a little bit about the tour itself. I'm not going to remember every little detail of it. And even if I did, I wouldn't say it. I wanted to leave that for the tour guys, the professionals. Go see them. Go take a tour, and they'll fill you in on all the details. So even if I could remember, I wouldn't tell you, just out of respect for them. I want them to be able to have the ability to tell you everything. As they are local, they can do it with more knowledge and passion about it than I could. But I did enjoy it. So, in addition to the nice scenery, obviously we drove around. We got to see some pretty views, which we got to go up elevated. At one point, we even stopped, and in the distance there was like a I don't say it was a satellite tower. It might have been, maybe it was something like that, but it was a little distance away, and you had to like kind of go up an incline for it. Um, and so I was like, all right, I'm going to do this, get a little exercise in. But she was only giving us a certain amount of time. Now she wasn't going to leave us, but we were only going to get like, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 minutes at the most. But went over there and got up, elevated a little bit. It took a little bit of energy to do it. And I looked around and was able to get some pictures. Very nice view. And then there was a lady that was coming up. She was on our tour. She wasn't in our ship though. She was on Norwegian. Pretty much we were the only ones I think on our ship. The rest I think were on Norwegian, I think. Anyways, but she was coming up. She had like a cane, like a walker type of thing coming up, and I was like, good for you. Look at you being able to come up here, still using that. She's like, yeah, I use it mainly for balance. I was like, oh, that works too. So she came up. We took her picture for her, and then I gave her my arm to help her down into the van. Her husband, yeah, I would try to do the same for him as they were getting into the van a few times that we stopped. And, instead of grabbing my arm, he just gave me a fist bump. I was like, I wasn't going for a fist bump, but if that's what you want to give me, that's fine too. Anyways, but so that was a real nice viewpoint from it. And then from there, we continued driving along, and there was at one point, I will relate this story because it kind of stood out to me, and I thought it was kind of cool. But there was at one point, a hurricane came through years ago, ended up doing whatever damage it did, and there was one building in particular that was pretty big with them, and they had actually contacted, I guess, China to help with this restoration of this building. And they had sent 300 men over to help um, restore it. And the way that they split it up, 150 men would work one shift, and then it was like the change in of the guards. Those 150 left, the other 150 came in, worked it. I guess they must have done 12-hour shifts, and then just kept going back and forth, 12 hours, and, for every day, 7 days a week for like 3 months, and complete the whole thing in 3 months. I was like, wow, that's a pretty cool story. That's pretty efficient. They were able to get it up and ready that quickly. And there were other things too, like there was this one turnaround. They had a lot of turnabouts, and one of them has a statue of a guy. I can't remember his name. Again, the tour guys can do it, but it was a statue of a guy who did not work in the government, did not work for the traffic company or anything like that. He just loved his neighbors and loved his community and would go out there and try moving traffic along. I think this was before the roundabout, and just tried moving things along and just try to help ease the flow of traffic that way. They made a statue for that guy on that turnaround. I thought that was kind of a neat little story too. And we did go around it. We did a few turnabouts, and then there was times that she would just keep going around and around to tell us a story of something that was in that vicinity, and then she would move on. Um, but yeah, anyway, so we had that one stop. We moved forward. Eventually, we went to this one beach. Can't remember the name of it, but it was a beach that was not far from hotels. And she dropped us off. She gave us like, I want to say like 40 minutes to be there, which I think went by pretty fast. And they had a place there that you could, they had like a sweet shop, sweets and milkshakes and whatever. I think I ended up eventually getting kind of like almost like a virgin daiquiri, that type of consistency. I'm trying to think of the name of it right now. Not a Slurpee, not an icy, but you get the point probably, that type of drink. And and there was another place where I mean you could obviously get like there was a bar there by the beach. And a guy that I had met, we had met on the cruise ship. He actually bumped into us. He had like $2 to spend at that he wasn't going to be able to use, so he gave it to us. And at the end of it, we were trying to use it, but we needed something to be able to go in the van that had a lid on it, but they weren't giving it to us, and it was just back and forth. We ended up not doing it. We gave it to somebody else. Yeah, but anyways, that beach there, I guess, is kind of popular, famous. It was a really pretty beach, and a ton of people there. You looked across, you saw these umbrellas, people underneath them, ton of people there, quite packed. But right next to it, there's a road, and right on the other side of that road, there is an airport with a landing strip right there over the beach. So you could actually be on the beach and just watch a plane just go right over your head as it lands. Almost looks like it's gonna run into you. And I think I didn't see any take off, but I think it does the same way. You can see them take off as well. And that's actually something that they kind of are known for, or at least I saw it in their things to do, like excursion wise, to take you over there to see the airplanes taking off and landing. Uh, I thought that was kind of cool. I love airplanes. I've always loved watching airplanes take off and land. So that was kind of cool for me. I like that more than the beach. I didn't go on the beach. I didn't go inside the water. That's just not my thing. But seeing an airplane take off and land, that is my thing. And because an airplane has so much power with their jets, depending on the plane, anyways, they have warning signs. Like you really get blasted by the sand as it's coming to go. So that was kind of cool. Definitely recommend going to see that if you end up going to St. Maarten, if you let me book you a trip to St. Maarten. Moving forward, we continued on, and again, as we continued on driving and saw different beautiful sights and scenery with the water and the mountains and all that, it was quite nice. We did eventually stop at one place that had we stopped there for no, I take it back. The other place we went there, I don't think for 40 minutes. I think we were there for 20. But this next stop, we were there for 40 minutes, and they had some shops there. I ended up getting this shirt there for the podcast. One person wanted like $25 for a shirt. I was like, okay, and usually I'm only going to wear it once for a podcast. And she's like, all right, for you, 20. I was like, thanks, no. And then later on, I found this one for 10, which they must be extremely small people there because this is an extra large and it feels very tight on me. But anyways, I got the shirt there. My dad went into there was like a French bakery, which I really wanted to get something there. I mean, they had eclairs that looked good. They had this other brown circular looking dessert that looked really good. But I had been eating so much on the ship and desserts too. It's like, I better not. I better be good right now. And I didn't get anything. But my dad, I think he got something to drink in there, went on the Wi Fi to post some pictures. I moved on, went looked for the shirt. And then in the area, there was also a shopping mall that, I don't know, almost looked like a castle. It had a really nice look on the outside. When we went inside, it wasn't too huge. But on the outside, it looked pretty big, unless we just saw just one part of it, and I don't know how to get to the rest of it. But that was really cool looking. And then up above on the top of the hill, mountain, whatever you want to call it, they had like a fort up there, which you could go up. There's stairs that went up there, and had I already had a shirt and that wasn't my mission to go get one for the podcast, I may have gone up there. Our tour guide had let our group know about it, and one guy was like, do you see the we're kind of on the older crowd here. No one can go. Maybe this guy, this young guy, he could go up there. He's in shape, but not the rest of us. I kind of laughed at that. And maybe I could have if I really wanted to, like I said, but I wanted to get a shirt for this, so I didn't go up there. But I did take a picture of it, and it's kind of cool. Look kind of nice. I'm sure that's probably something. If you go up there, you're going to see some history as well as a nice view of the island. Which, if you can't tell by now, I like views. And I've realized that so many places have nice views once you get to an elevated level. If you can get some elevation up a little ways, whether you're on top of a building or a mountain or an airplane, whatever, and you get that elevated look, just it's such a beautiful thing to see. And I think that's one of the reasons why Santorini, little side note here, is one of my favorite stops because the whole city's on top of a mountain, pretty much, and it's just gorgeous views all the way around. And I think that's one of the reasons why Santorini is one of my favorite destinations ever. All right. Well, anyway, so we moved on, and we were able to stop at another part. We got to overlook Megan's Bay, and so I think that was Megan's Bay. I think that's what she said, or is that St. Thomas? No, see, I'm pretty sure it was there, but maybe not. Maybe now I can't remember. See, I don't remember all the details of every beach and city that we went through on this tour. Um, but I think it was on there. Anyways, we got to that was one of our last ones that we did on our way back to the ship. And again, just looking all the way around, just breathtaking views, which I always love. Um, and if you do too, I think you would enjoy it as well. And St. Martin, so that was and then we eventually went back to the ship to the dock. They had to check our um, boarding pass. I would say a boarding pass, our little ship card as we were going into it because we were going into that like secure area. Got there, and then, like I said, we met our friend, got to do some shopping. But the tour was really nice. St. Martin is interesting that St. Martin can be spelled in two different ways. One is the Dutch side, which is Maarten. That is the Dutch way, and I believe, if I remember correctly, I believe the Dutch is in the south part of the island, and then the north part is spelled Martin. That's the French. So they're two separate countries. They are literally two separate countries on one island with the same name, just spelled differently. And I was I mean, that just fascinated me. Like it really fascinated me. And you can cross over one to the other without having to go through like Customs and Borders Patrol or security, anything like that. You can cross over just fine once you they have their own little legalities about it, why that's acceptable to do. And you are, depending on what kind of passport you have, you can even live in one and work in the other. Very fascinating, very fascinating. And you can see, like, as you're going from one to the other, the country's flags, and you can see the difference in how things are spelled, and now you're seeing more French as opposed to English. Um, it's a very interesting, fascinating setup that St. Martin has with that. and there's some history involved with that too. And again, I'll leave it up to the tour guides of how it became that way. Um, yeah, very interesting. And if it's something that you'd like to visit, go see this beautiful island and take in the scenery, enjoy the beautiful beaches and the breathtaking views. If that is something that interests you and you'd like to go do it, let me know. I'd be more than happy to help you out with it. Again, you can reach out to me through social media, send me a message either on Instagram or Facebook at Jay's Paradise Travels. JAYS, Jay's Paradise Travels. Send me a message. We can link up that way. Or you can email me at j.paradise.travels@gmail.com. That's another way of getting a hold of me. Just email me directly. Um, J-A-Y, Jay.paradise.travels@gmail.com. Also, too, there's other ways too in the description below here. If you're watching this on YouTube, there is a link to my calendar which you can set up an appointment with me. We could talk either on the phone or through Zoom. Or you can visit my website, and there's a link to that as well. You'll see a bunch of different things in the description, different links. And one of them is to my website, where on there you can reach out to me also. A lot of different ways to make it convenient for you to reach out to me. Because I love to be your travel agent, your family, friends travel agent. Feel free to share my name with them, trying to get my name out there. Um, Try to make this world a happier place, one vacation at a time. I would love to be able to help you out with that. So yeah, feel free to reach out. And if you did enjoy this video, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with others, uh, give it a 5-star rating, all those good things that keep podcasters going, as well as again for me for my business, what I'm trying to do here, getting my name out there to others. And also too, I know I briefly mentioned it. I just want to one more time give her a nice shout out. Soraida, she was a fantastic tour guide, and it's within that local area. Just one of those like taxi services. If you go, feel free to ask for her, and yeah, I think you'll she knows her stuff. She's been doing it a long time. She's funny. She's got some humor in there too, and she's even got like family members. I think like her daughter is getting into it now, and she's kind of helped train her a little bit. And just she's not going to go too fast, not go too slow. She's going to make sure everyone's there. She's a great tour guide, so feel free to use her if you end up going. If you allow me to book it for you, and yeah, if you want me to book it for you, let me know so uh, I can help you out with that. All right. Well, that's gonna do it for me today. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you took something away from it and learned something. And I will talk to you guys again later. Take care. Bye bye.